Hey guys, Aaron Wilson here at NRG Stadium, and a tough day for the Texans on the injury front. Texans defensive tackle Tim Settle Jr.'s season is over. He was having an excellent year, really providing a lot of push in the middle that helps Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter do their thing and, of course, close plays out and sack the quarterback. And Tim, who had a career-high 5 sacks last year, had been very unselfish, team-oriented all year long, and now he's undergoing season-ending foot surgery, so he's placed on injury reserve officially. Hours later, after we got the word, got a text that it was over for Tim, and they consulted with the doctors. They'd hoped that he could make it back, and he cannot. So he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. We'll see what the future holds. He would like to come back. Ideally, what we'll see if that can happen is Matt Burr called it sad news because Tim is a very well-respected member of the team, very popular in the locker room, and it's unfortunate to not have Tim. You look at what he was doing. I know he only had 15 tackles and the 1 sack and the 1 quarterback hit, but he is an anchor inside, and it's hard to replicate the power that Tim plays the game with and all the things that he can do as just a stout run stopper. Is one of the reasons why the Texans have the top-ranked defense. And so what they do in terms of another injury, we'll see. It's still unresolved. I think that Tommy Togiai will fill in for Tim Settle Jr., and Togiai's had a very strong season too and would fit right into the starting lineup next to Sheldon Rankins. We'll see if he plays more or Mario Edwards Jr. I tend to think it'll be Togiai playing more football for the Texans. It hasn't been a big year really for Mario, but Tommy has consistently made the plays, so we'll see if they think that's the way to go, if they want to rotate him in. But I tend to think that he's done it, he's earned it to be in that role. So, more concerning in a way because of the importance of the position and the team that you're playing on Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs, against Patrick Mahomes, the great Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to throw it to Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy, is to not have Kamari Lassiter, and that is a possibility that he misses the game. He has not practiced the past 2 days due to a foot injury of his own. I'm told per sources this is not going to be a season-ending injury. I repeat, not a season-ending injury, but it could cost him this week. We'll see if it costs him more weeks. Kamari is still attempting to play, I'm told, and we'll see if he is able to practice at all on Friday and test this thing out, or if he's going to be out for the Chiefs game. If he's out, as you guys know, Jalen Reed is out with the forearm surgery, broke that metal plate, had the surgery, I believe, today to repair that, and we'll see how many weeks. They didn't put him on injury reserve. It's not season ending. They expect Reed back. So I expect Miles Bryant to fill in, and I expect for Kamari Lassiter, Tremon Smith, who's a very fast special teamer, has started an occasion. Remember, he picked off Dak Prescott filling in for Steven Nelson a couple years back. So that is the situation. And the Texans, concerned enough about corner depth, and I don't think he'll play corner for the Texans on Sunday, but they add off waivers Jamarcus Ingram from the Buffalo Bills, a former undrafted free agent from Texas Tech, from Dallas native, 6'2", 190, 33 career tackles, 1 sack, 4 passes defense, 2 interceptions with 1 touchdown. Both of those interceptions were in one game against Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. But yeah, I expect the depth to be provided by Tremon Smith. Of course, you have Amari Speed up on a corner for special teams. So the excellent tackle he made as a gunner for Houston in his first game playing against his old team, the Indianapolis Colts. So, Aaron, are you all bad news today? What's going on? No, I'm not. I've got some more positive news for you, and this is kind of what we predicted. I know that D'Amico Ryan said that Kamari included him in that group with Will Anderson Jr. and Woody Marks, that they'll all be fine. Well, as predicted, as thought, Will Anderson Jr. returned to practice from chest and shoulder injuries. He was limited. We talked about after practice. The injury didn't even come up. He's playing Sunday. He'll be out there, number 51. Terminator, some call him. I just call him Will. and don't tend to call guys, hey, Terminator, anything like that. But yeah, he's back, and there was never really any doubt about his status at all. I know that everyone gets alarmed when anybody misses any practice. I understand that. It doesn't always mean it's something ominous. Sometimes guys on Wednesday are rested, and then they come back. Remember how many times Dalton Schultz has not practiced Wednesday, Thursday, and comes back on Friday. So that happens a lot. Woody Marks, the starting running back for the Texans, is back from an ankle injury. They initially characterized as a foot injury. He left the game in Indianapolis, then toughed it out and finished the game strong with that first down run that sealed the game for the Texans. And he rushes for 64 yards. So he practiced. He told me he feels good, and I believe him. I think he's good to go. I didn't watch him go full speed. I thought maybe his ankle's bothering him a little bit, just watching him run and take a couple of handoffs today, but I'm not a doctor. I just noticed a little bit of a hitch in his gait. We'll see how he looks on Sunday. But yeah, I am confident that he's going to play, and that's good news as well. Trent Brown, they always rest him on Wednesdays because of a broken finger, just to lessen the amount of pounding that the finger takes, and he is back practicing. So is Denico Autry, and two guys that didn't practice and are out for Sunday, Jalen Reed, the safety, and Jamal Hill, the linebacker. So that's running it down for the Texans and the injury report. And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Chiefs a little bit. We've talked about all the Texans personnel issues. Yes, I think if they don't have Kamari Lassiter, that's a drop-off, obviously. But, you do, it's a 100% injury rate in this game, and that happens. It's unfortunate. You never want to see a great football player like Kamari miss time, but that is the situation, and there's a chance that he misses the game. He's a tough guy. Would it surprise me if he played? No, but he has missed games before. Remember, he had a broken scapula that kept him out. He's had a couple of other injuries, so he's someone that, like he's human. He gets dinged. Things happen. It's unfortunate, but like I said, it is part of the game. Guys do get hurt, and Kamari is a very tough guy, and if he can play, he will. But if they say, that he's unable to, that's what it is. For the Chiefs, missing practice again and not expected to play, Trey Smith, their standout offensive guard, one of the best guards in football, and big right tackle, Jawan Taylor. Trey's got an ankle injury. Jawan's got triceps and knee injuries. They got full participation again from Brian Cook, Noah Gray, Jaden Hicks, George Karlaftis, Patrick Mahomes with a knee, Isaiah Pacheco knee, Nico Remijo with a shoulder, and Rashee Rice, hamstring. So they've got some guys that have some injuries. They're not 100%. Nobody's 100%. It's December football. That's what it is. So now I want to segue, now that we've handled a lot of stuff there, I want to segue to the quarterback matchup. And this is, to me, an elite quarterback matchup. Patrick Mahomes, everybody knows him. He's the former NFL MVP. He's done so many things. He's won so many Super Bowls. He's done a lot of great things. And he's had some success against the Texans in the regular season and in the playoffs. And in the regular season, again, every year's new, but he's 3-1 all time. He's completed 71.81% of his throws for 1,080 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 109.5 passer rating. There's other teams that have had, more trouble with Patrick, with passer ratings, like the Baltimore Ravens, 117.9, the Panthers, 121.0. So he does this to everybody. He's a great quarterback that can throw from so many angles, contorting his body to make the ad-lib, off-script throw. That's what he is. He's only been sacked 5 times in the regular season by the Texans, and they have trouble with Patrick Mahomes, but who doesn't? So for the Texans, this was a big topic of conversation today with Will Anderson Jr., with Matt Burke. It's about discipline rush. What does that mean? Gap integrity, containment. When you rush up the field, breaking down to a football position and not letting him get outside your outside shoulder. And if you do that, if you can contain the perimeter, you can squeeze the middle, and you can sometimes sack Mahomes. He's not invulnerable to being sacked. He can be sacked. But especially with this configuration, we got into that a lot more on the previous video for the Chiefs and how shorthanded they are with the offensive line. Of course, Josh Simmons is on injury reserve with a dislocated and fractured wrist. They're standout rookie left tackle. So the Texans may have an opportunity to create some pressure and take a little bit of heat off of a secondary that's missing 2 starters and Jalen Reed, who was safety number 3 of the year after C.J. Gardner-Johnson experiment blew up. And, of course, M.J. Stewart tore his quadriceps tendon. But I think they'd really found something with Reed, and it's just really unfortunate that he can't play right now because he was helping the team out a lot. So no Jalen Reed, and maybe no Kamari Lassiter. So we're going to find out on Friday the official injury designation. Is he going to be questionable? Is he going to be listed as out? How are they going to handle that? And I think its decision is to be determined, and we'll see how he feels tomorrow. But, you know, when people tell me it's not season ending, and I'm hearing that tends to make me think that maybe he's going to miss a game. Maybe he's going to miss a game or 2. We'll see where this goes. So we'll be monitoring that, obviously, very closely. That is the last remaining big injury question mark. Kamari Lassiter, who does so well opposite all-pro corner Derek Stingley Jr. So it's a big deal. I won't minimize it, but you know, you're playing Patrick Mahomes without one of your best defensive players, regardless of position. So that means defensive line, no Tim Settle Jr., Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter. They have got to do even more in their stalwart role as bookend pass rushers, getting after Mahomes and constricting the pocket. And they need someone else to get after the quarterback too. So I think it can't just be those 2 guys. Other people need to get involved. And then they've got to cover. They've got to be able to cover some very good wide receivers. And yes, the Chiefs are depleted, but that doesn't mean they're not dangerous. And they are desperate to win this game. And they are very, very successful at Arrowhead Stadium, especially against the Texans. Texans, of course, are on a 5-game losing streak to the Chiefs. And the last win there, of course, was in 2019. Forced fumble by Charles Omenihu, who now plays for the Chiefs, ironically. And big-time 100-yard rushing day by, blanking here on the running back. Carlos Hyde, sorry. Yeah, just didn't come to me in the second. Yeah, it's a lot of things running through my head, thinking about a lot of stuff heading into this game, including the cold. And I'm even cold right now. You see my scarf. I'm inside NRG Stadium in the lobby, and it is cold in this building because I'm not that far from the double doors that lead you out to the sidewalk. And hey, it's getting cold here for Texas. Now for Houston, this is getting to be cold weather time. So, you know, you look at the whole matchup, and I think, you know, getting to now C.J. Stroud, you know, thinking about C.J. And yeah, C.J., you know, he hasn't had a ton of success against the Chiefs. You know, you look at the 2 losses last year and, you know, what he's doing out there. In the regular season game, the first one, so he passes for 244 yards. He's 59% completions, but he has a couple of interceptions. He's 23 for 39 overall. And that, of course, was the game where his best friend, Tank Dell, blew up his knee. I think it took a toll on CJ. I think it was a very emotional day for C.J. Stroud and for the Texans in general. But yeah, no one more upset, more visibly upset than C.J. So now with a different receiving core, you know, a little bit revamped, throw into Jaden Higgins, throw into Jalen Noel, throw into Christian Kirk to go with Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz. C.J. has an opportunity here because a lot of exotic blitzes are coming from Steve Spagnuolo. And Steve is, I would call him I know Steve a little bit. I covered Steve when he was on one of John Harbaugh's staffs with the Baltimore Ravens. And so last year, the Texans did not do very well against the blitz in terms of pass protection. Last year, of course, CJ was sacked 52 times during the regular season and then sacked even more during the playoffs. He was sacked 8 times, matching his career high, and one off of the NFL playoff record. He was pressured on 51.2% of his dropbacks. They've come a long way, the offensive line, and this will be something of a really litmus test of how much better are the Texans in terms of offensive line. They, when you look at the Chiefs, it's not quite the same level of success for the Chiefs in terms of looking at what George Karlaftis is doing, what Stone Cold Chris Jones. I know a lot of people think that's hilarious. It's kind of funny when CJ didn't know his nickname, and I was asking about Stone Cold. So a lot of folks were like, "What? CJ doesn't know his nickname." I don't think that's that strange for a guy not to know somebody's nickname, but looking at the Chiefs defensively, they're 9th in yardage, 7th in points allowed. They are 12th against the pass. They're 9th against the run. So they're pretty solid overall on defense. And like I said, Spagnuolo, he comes up with good stuff. He's a innovative, old school defensive coordinator. He's been a head coach. He's done a lot in his career. He's highly, highly respected. Just known as a good guy. But Karlaftis, he only has 5 sacks. It's not like it's this constant barrage. And Chris Jones has 3 sacks. But we know they're capable of making those big plays. Karlaftis absolutely dominated against Dalton Schultz and also Laramie Tunsil in that game last year. So Stone Cold has 12 quarterback hits, and there's 20 quarterback hits from Karlaftis. He just hasn't closed as much as he would have liked to, and he's got 8 tackles for losses. So still very good, and they get I think outstanding pass coverage. You're looking at all the things they do with Trent McDuffie. He's just a really, really sound player overall. And I think their linebacker Nick Bolton is lights out with 100 tackles, 5 for losses, 4 quarterback hits. He's got a forced fumble. He's a hard hitter. He's from Mizzou. He's a good football player. So they've got him. And going back to the last meeting, because that's what we have to go off of, and you look at the Texans and kind of what happened in that game, I feel like for all of that pressure, that may have been the straw that broke the camel's back, leads them to overhaul the offensive line, trade Laramie Tunsil, the 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle, to the Washington Commanders. And it was just a very discouraging thing. They fire Chris Strausser and Bobby Slowick, and they promote Cole Popovich, and they hire new offensive coordinator Nick Caley, who's under considerable amount of pressure. So the Texans this year have only allowed 27 sacks. They have a 30.9% pressure rate per Next Gen Stats. And in the last 2 games with this new configuration that C.J. Stroud can play behind, left tackle Ariante Ursary, left guard Titus Howard, who's having a Pro Bowl caliber year in terms of pass protection, regardless of him playing left guard, and right tackle. Center Jake Andrews, right guard Ed Ingram, who's also had a good year statistically, and big Trent Brown, all 6'8", probably about 400 pounds, has also played well. So the offensive line's been more physical. They're staying more connected on double teams per DeMeco Ryans, and I think it's overall a good front. As CJ says, they have talent. I think there is definitely some more talent than they've had in the past overall in terms of the line, and they figured it out a little bit. But in that game and the aggressiveness of Steve Spagnuolo dialing up blitzes, they got 12 pressures and 3 sacks out of 17 blitzes, according to Next Gen Stats. So that is a great percentage for the Chiefs and a terrible percentage for the Texans. They had a lot of unblocked pressure, 19.5% of the dropbacks, 5th highest rate of any team in a playoff game going back to 2018. That is rough. As CJ said, Spags is a heck of a defense coordinator, knows what he's doing, knows how to get his guys on one-on-ones, messes with your protection rules. So he says you got to be alert for that kind of stuff. Absolutely. And so in this quarterback duel, it's going to be about the pressure game and who can beat the pressure and who is overwhelmed by the pressure. And, for CJ, this is got the kind of game that's going to say a lot about him and where he is as a quarterback. How does he play in comparison to what Mahomes does? So, yes, they struggled last year. A lot of signature blitzes, lots of big things from Spagnuolo. But as Titus Howard noticed and emphasized in the locker room, he feels like Nick Caley's protection scheme from Caley and Popovich have given them adjustments that they installed to be able to handle obvious blitz protection. So Texans, are doing pretty well, but it's not a great season for the Chiefs and Stone Cold Jones. They have a 35.5% pressure rate when blitzing this year, and they blitz at the 5th highest rate in the NFL, 33.8%. So it's a different trajectory, but you can't just go off of, this guy's blitzing, this is not happening, and of course the Texans don't lack for motivation. This is as call Arrowhead Stadium, a house of horrors. It's been ugly for the Texans over the years, and they need to get it together. They need to figure out a way to do it, figure out a way to win at Arrowhead Stadium. They do that and climb to 8-5 as the Jaguars and the Colts square off on Sunday. Somebody's going to take a step back, and the Texans are going to take a step forward. And, they're 8th right now in the AFC playoff standings. They have a very good chance to be 7th should they win this game. They should get to that point, and they've got some tiebreakers with some other teams. It's a little early to do playoff scenarios because, as you guys know, there are 5 remaining games in the regular season, and we'll see. Is the finale, the regular season finale against the Colts, is that for the AFC South division title? But can't look too far ahead. I mean, I can do that, but for the Texans, they shouldn't. I don't think they are. It's about a singular focus on the Chiefs, and they've got their work cut out for them. The Chiefs are an excellent, excellent football team, and they're well coached, of course, by Andy Reid, and they've won 3 of the past 6 Super Bowls. So their reputation precedes them, speaks for itself, and regardless of their record, they're having a tough year, they've had some tough breaks. Does that mean that they're any less dangerous? No. If anything, you just never know. When are they going to regain their old form? I just think you can never really count out the Chiefs and say, okay, we got them figured out. And so just to recap from the beginning, they've got Kamar Lassiter is a big question mark for this game. Tim Settle Jr. is done for the season. And next man up could be Tommy Tagiai and Tremont Smith. So as they go forward, we'll see. We'll be watching those situations. And, of course, we'll be in Kansas City. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, liking, subscribing, and for anybody that uses this, boosting the channel, which is free of charge, of course, but of course, and you can do thank yous, all that kind of things, and I appreciate you guys being a part of the channel. I'm looking forward to giving you more and more coverage as the Texans continue to make this playoff push, and of course, I'll be there in Kansas City Saturday and Sunday, covering and previewing the matchup, the big Sunday Night Football matchup that you can watch on NBC, on KPRC, and we'll have post-game and pre-game coverage with me and Nick Mantis. We did a video earlier that is available at www.click2houston.com and on my social media as well. So great talking with Nick about some of the matchups and kind of getting into it, hitting some of the high points here today in the lobby when it was a little warmer. But no, I'm not whining too much. I'm just having a little fun. I know people make fun of me for wearing a scarf. It is actually pretty cold in here, so decided to do it. And I'm about to head outside and head home for dinner with my wife, and I gotta post this video, of course. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Keep it locked here, and there's a bunch of shorts. I'm updating it, with pretty much almost not every single thing I get, but try to be picky and give you guys as much content, as quality of content as possible. And all I ask is, hey, follow along, watch, enjoy it, and all of those, of course, help me in the numbers game that is YouTube, the algorithm, and appreciate you guys. Of course, I'm on Twitter and X at AaronWilson_NFL, Instagram, AaronWilson7128, and you can read me free of charge at www.click2houston.com, and you can watch me on television at KPRC2. Hope you don't get tired of me. Sometimes I'm almost tired of myself, like I'm talking so much, writing so much, but that's the business. That's what it requires, and it's changed a lot since I, was a rookie beat writer a long time ago, but wouldn't change it for the world. Having a lot of fun doing it. My privilege and honor to cover the National Football League, to cover the Texans, and bring it all to you guys. Thanks so much. Good night.
Making sure that we're not flying by, and then coverage. We always, Coach Ryan's always talking about rushing coverage and making sure that we're plastered on the backside. If you're on a guy, stay on a guy, and it's really just all of us doing our job.
You're a guy that's experienced a lot of heartbreak at Arrowhead. How do you channel that? Do you use that? How much is that motivation to you?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think for us, it's not like looking back in the past. Obviously, we know that feeling, but it's really just going to be all about us, man. We go in there, we execute, we be detailed, locked in on our job, mentally sound. man, I think we get the outcome that we want. And that's just everybody doing their job and everybody having fun, flying around and playing to our mentality.
Is there anything you learned? I know they're different teams, you too, but is there anything you've learned about having gone to that place and facing that aura of the Mahomes magic and the fans at Arrowhead? Like, is there anything you've learned that you can take away?
Yeah, most definitely. Just closing out the game. That's the biggest thing. Like, we know he get the ball at the end of the game, he can make it happen. So for us, it's just going to be about closing out the game and really making sure that, we're swarming, offense doing their thing, defense doing their thing, special teams doing their thing, and playing complementary football.
Kind of similar to what you all had to deal with the Ravens and getting past them. Does it feel like a hurdle you have to get past when looking at the Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, to us, man, it's another game on the schedule, another great game for us, another division game for us, man, and it's just going to be everybody just doing their job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like once you try to get too high on the emotions or you try to look something other than what it is, I think that's when everybody kind of lose focus. But if we have the focus of taking it one game at a time, saying this is the Chiefs, we got to play the Chiefs right now, I think we'll be in a good spot.
We'll talk to some of your teammates about moving you inside with the rush. Okay, you're smiling. They all smiled. Okay. When people say speed to power, explain what this means as you're driving the Colts center back 8 yards.
Yeah, we just called it thrash, man. Thrash. Coach Gerard did a presentation today on what thrash is, and it's just, man, just bullying somebody in front of you, man. Just right. You really asked Sheldon Rankins about thrash. Thrash, but no, thrash is just it's a mindset, it's a mentality that we have on our team and as a D-line.
And you enjoy that?
I got to. Because if you don't, you're not going to be out there.
From a physical standpoint, the tenor of this game, what kind of tone do you guys hope to set from the first snap on?
Oh, we got to set the tone automatically. Like, as soon as we step on the field, whoever it is, offense, defense, special teams, we got to be the most physical team. And I think that's what's going to, help us win this game. Everybody being locked in, everybody being physical and playing our brand of ball.
You guys are in a good spot now, fighting for the AFC South. Kind of where we thought y'all would be, but it was a tough road getting here.
Yeah.
What allowed you guys to get to this point despite some of the rough points?
It was crazy. Me and Aziz are just talking about this on the field, but it's the resiliency of this team. But I would just say the bond for this team, man. Like, we're so close as brothers, teammates, friends, man. And we went up to West Virginia and bonded up there, man. And I really think that really helped us connect and really be able to stick together in times like this. Like, nobody wavered. Nobody was blaming each other. Like, we was like, man, let's just keep going to work and getting better. And when this thing turn over, it's going to turn over. And it has been for us.
Will, I apologize if you've been.
Woody, how's it feel to be back out there?
I feel good. Just be back out there and play the game I love.
Just needed a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all need a day.
Yeah, for sure.
How excited are you about the matchup to play the Chiefs and to, this is a big football game?
It's a big football game. It's a big football game we got this week. So we just got to go out there and execute.
And trying to keep this thing rolling. When momentum starts, sometimes they say it'll just keep going. How do you feel about the momentum you guys are building?
Momentum is play by play, week by week. Just going out and just want to get that W so we can have a smile on our face and then come back Monday happy.
At practice today, did you feel yourself like pretty much like you usually feel?
Yeah, for sure. Just going out there, being able to get back on the field, run around, and just listen to the music, have fun, and just execute plays at a high level.
Cold weather? Go ahead.
I was like, how many cold weather games have you played in your career?
Probably like 3. One was at USC last year. Washington. It was raining, cold. Cool game.
What is the difference in playing in those cold weather games as far as running back is concerned?
Well, it's really no difference. Kind of guy, if you just stand on the sideline, standing in the street or something, the main things, your fingers, ears, and toes. So that's really the main thing. I try to cover my ears.
Sleeves? Sleeves, no sleeves.
Oh, no sleeves. Never could wear sleeves. Just fumble, slick on for the ball.
What about the hits? Does the hits seem a little bit different in the cold?
Them hits?
When you take the hits?
No, not for real.
This seems like a rough and tumble kind of football game. Like, roll your sleeves up. It's gonna be cold. Could see you guys running the ball a little bit. How do you see this game?
I see it as a really fun game. I feel like this is probably like football weather, so this is like the type of game that everybody would want to play in. And it's like a primetime game, so it's going to be a really fun game on both sides of the ball.
Hey, they've got a good front. They got Loftus, they got Jones. and their defense coordinator, Spags, he likes to switch things up a little bit, a little crafty.
Yeah, they have a really good defense, a really good defensive line. I feel like it's a challenge that we've been working towards, and I feel like it's going to be a good challenge for us, and it's going to be a fun game. Like they have great players, we have great players. So.
You feel 100% now?
Yeah, I'm feeling very confident.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You feel like
My
better?
body?
Yeah, your body.
I'm feeling better, yeah.
Yep. All right. End of the year.
Man, special. I think just obviously, and I went through a year ago almost to date, and all the scrutiny, all the things I had to hear from so many different people who know nothing about me. The people in this building, I'm with them every single day, and I've been here basically every single day for the last almost 2 years. So to be nominated, it definitely is a huge blessing because it's just a reflection of what they see in me, and I think that's just been probably the coolest thing about it.
Has it been hard on you to be misunderstood by others, or do you only really worry about the people that know you, what they think of you?
Yeah, no, I think just as a human, there's no human being I think that could just say, no, I don't care about it. Especially when every single day, there's some people who literally every day dedicate their time to just send me all type of messages and things like that. So at one point I think I cared a lot more because I just felt like it was so far left, especially when it came from the place that it initially came from. But now at this point, I can't hang my hat on what somebody else who literally has never even met me thinks about me, because that's not my problem.
Aziz, can you talk about just some of the things that you do? The other day we saw you at the Inspire Change event, and I talked to the executive director of the high school. She talked about the work that you do and what it means to their kids. How does that make you feel when you get to interact with all these different organizations you support?
It's huge because for me, I do all those things because I think about the kid that I was, the person that I was, and what I wish people would have did for me, or resources that I wish I had. So, every time I get a chance to put a smile on somebody's face, whether it's an adult, whether it's a child, or anybody in between, or ease somebody's type of hardship, whatever they might be going through, whether it's a meal, whether it's some money, whatever it might be, that's something I try to do. I think when it comes to the rewarding part of it, I try to seek my reward with God. It's a blessing to be recognized by people, but I know at the end of the day, God's watching me and He's watching my intentions. And just me being Muslim, that's always been a huge thing, is making sure your intentions are right, not just the action itself. So I rarely like to promote the things that I'm doing in the community because I always try to make sure that my intentions are right.
Is this something that you wanted to achieve, this honor, or is it just something that happened and you just kind of did all the same stuff you've always been doing?
Yeah, just like what I just said, for me when it comes to giving back to the community and doing things like that, it's something that just my faith is not supposed to be something that you publicize and you kid a camera out when you're giving somebody a meal, look what I'm doing for this person. And for me, being homeless growing up, that was the last thing I would ever wanted somebody to do when they were helping me, is basically show the world, hey, look what I'm doing for this guy who ain't got nothing. So honestly, I never expected to even be in this conversation because so much of the work that I do, I really don't talk about. The only people that know are the people that I'm helping, and the people, I guess now, around the building who see me do it or help me orchestrate the things that I'm doing. But yeah, for the most part, I really don't even publicize what I'm doing, so I had no clue. When I walked into that room, I genuinely was shocked because I see my mother, who is supposed to be in Florida, and it just, all of it was just completely shocking for me.
What was her reaction?
Go ahead.
What was her reaction?
When she see me and I see her, and we're just everybody's down there, I'm just sitting there they chopped up the video because I'm sitting there for 8 minutes trying to spell what the hell's going on. And then just when Cal and Hannah McNair told me I was the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, I'm sitting there, I'm seeing my mom, and I just give her a hug, and I just break down crying because I'm just thinking everything I experienced, everything that I've been through, just in my entire life with that woman, for her to be there to get that nominee, I appreciate them because, I appreciate the organization for having her here because, there's no other person I would have wanted to celebrate that moment with that probably helped me get here more than my mother. So it was just, for me and her, just a huge, huge thing.
Aziz, a couple organizations that you work with, wanted to ask you about them. One, the Alief Taylor football team, but also the folks that you host. Some of those kids are amputees that you have out to the games. Just a little about your interactions with those organizations.
Yeah, so with the football team, just again, I help my football team back in Tampa, Florida, Hillsborough High School, and I donate to them. But it's hard to go out there because obviously I'm here most of the season. So I remember I was doing an event, and one of the teachers had asked like if I would go and speak to the kids, and I'm like, yeah, I would speak to the kids. And so I ended up going over there one time and talking to the football team, and then started to continuously go back and bring them to the football games and stuff, and went to one of their games. So it's just been cool, just trying to mentor, the youth and just give them some love and some advice. And then when it comes to the amputees and things like that, those are kids from overseas in Palestine who were bombed, their families were killed. So like you said, some of them don't have arms, legs. They're in Houston getting medical treatment. So I've been able to help them in different ways and do a lot of things with them. But bringing them to the game was pretty cool for them because it's an experience that they never experienced. And for them, you talk about some of those kids as young as, 4 years old that don't have legs, that, it's just one day of happiness and joy that they can get with all the pain and things that they're dealing with. So.
Aziz, can you talk about how the